Are South Africa in control after this day two? That's the question I want to pose to you guys because it is quite an interesting development that has taken place on day two of the match. Because at one point you would say that South Africa was on top, and by the initial lead, you would have said that South Africa were on top or are on top. But as Bangladesh got into the game with the bat, it's starting to look like they are bringing themselves back into the equation. So we're going to talk about day two of the first test right now on the show, and we're going to dissect everything that took place regarding this match on day two. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things that I'd like you guys to please do. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Smash the like button, comment, and share. Once we finish the stream, please go into the comment section and leave your comments there too. I'd also like you guys to please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your live cricket show, your review show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that happened in the first test on day two between South Africa and Bangladesh. So, what took place in the match? That's the big question. I've got the score sheet with the scorecard on the screen for you right now so that you guys can follow along with me. But we're going to have to start with where South Africa left off. So after day one, South Africa were in a decent position, I would say. They were 140 for six and had a lead of 34. And Verreynne and Verreynne Mulder actually picked up where they left off, executing an effective game plan, a positive game plan, a little bit more of a positive mentality with their strokes that they played. They showed a lot of positive intent throughout their innings today. Both batters played straight down the ground and they utilized the sweep shot and the reverse sweep shot against the spinners, particularly. They struggled a little bit against the seamer when he came back into the mix, but overall, their game plan against spin today was magnificent. This was definitely has to do a lot with Ashwell Prince and what he's been doing, the work he's been doing with these players. Because I do remember loads of conversations with Coach Ashwell off the field, off the record, where he discussed certain ways of playing against spin, and the sweep shot was one of the main things that he did pick out as needed when you want to try and get a ahead in a match when it comes to playing spinners. I don't know what the hell's happened to my hand here. Anyway, but the pair between Verreynne Mulder and Verreynne took South Africa past the 200 run mark by the first innings break of the day. And then the pair took South Africa into the lead of 121, with both batters bringing up a half century. It was a fantastic performance by both players. I would say that they've come a long way from the last time we've seen them play, because a lot of us would have said that both of these players are probably playing for a position. It's taken quite a long time for Verreynne to actually get back into the run scoring milestones and to actually show that what he's capable of. And similar for Verreynne Mulder, it's taken a very long time for him to actually get his maiden half century. So both of them have definitely proved that doubt is wrong, and have showed the coach that he can trust him in that position. And when you look at these two players, it just the availability of Verreynne Mulder just gives us that extra bit of clarity when it comes to picking teams. Because with the return of Marco Janssen, Gerald Coetzee, etc., for the future tours, having an informed Vian Mulder and one that is actually firing really helps the team out a hell of a lot, because now you can battle nine possibly in a match because Marco Janssen bats, and even to an extent you can bat to 10 because Gerald Coetzee is also a pretty decent batter as well. But to continue this, shortly after Vian Mulder brought out his maiden test half century, the introduction of course, the seamer, which I spoke about earlier on, Hassan Mahmoud, saw Mulder edge to the slips. That's something that was always on the cards, because when you are bowling spinners consistently and the players are starting to get into a rhythm, bringing a seamer into the mix that can move the ball around and particularly get a reverse swing at that stage in the match is always going to be tricky. And it would have been a temporary survival period for South Africa where they would have needed to just see off the ball a bit and play a little bit slower and maybe just try and survive that periods of the fast bowler. But that wasn't the case. He edged it to the slip, and then it was the end of the 119 run partnership between the two players. He cleaned up Maharaj again as well in the following delivery. Um, and South Africa was suddenly on 227 for 8 after 65 overs. And of course, at that stage, Mahmoud or Hassan was on a hat trick, but he had to wait to the following over to try and get that hat trick, which he never got in the end, actually. The Proteas then managed to go wicketless until lunch, and it was a decent day for them at that particular point of the match. We were looking really good at lunch, and Dane Pitt played a massive role in that. He actually supported Verreynne brilliantly, and that is something that you always want from a player that's coming in, particularly in the tail. Do your job, and that is stick around with the guy until he sees his century. They finished on 243 for 8 with a lead of 137 at this point. And then after lunch, Dane Pitt and Verreynne were again very, very good. The pair took SA to 293, and Dane Pitt helped him reach his second century in his career so far. And when Dane Pitt lost his wicket, South Africa had a lead of 187, and it was the end of a 66-run partnership between the two. Verreynne reached his 100 in 134 balls, guys. And that just shows the intent that he played with. He batted extremely well overall. He scored 114 of 144 balls, 8 fours and 2 sixes. And his intent was clear because he helped South Africa to the 300-run mark with a brilliant slog sweep for 6. And then we were just 5 runs away from the 200-run lead. Then he brought up a 200-run lead with another 6 off the back foot and over mid wicket. It was a brilliant shot again with another maximum bringing up that 200-run lead. But then the following delivery, he attempted another sweep, and clearly he was aiming to up the ante at this point. But Verreynne was stumped, and South Africa were all out for 308 in 88.4 overs with a lead of 202. So a brilliant performance. He needs to be congratulated for the amazing performance today. He was absolutely fantastic, and I'm really glad to see him hit some form now. Finally hit some form, because it's been a long time since people have been waiting for him to score his second century. And to get it in such a difficult um, manner, under such difficult circumstances, with all the pressure on him, in foreign conditions where the wicket is tricky, this will give him a heap of confidence. Then Bangladesh came up to bat, and South Africa got a perfect start. We reduced them to 4 for 2, thanks to Kagiso Rabada, who took 2 wickets. And it was South Africa on top at this stage. I thought that we were going to get a lot more wickets throughout this day, or throughout the session at least, until the stumps. But Bangladesh survived until tea, and then the host built some momentum after the break as well to take themselves to 59. But then Maharaj got a good breakthrough after putting some pressure on the opposition. And in the ninth over, he dismissed Najmal Hussain, Shanto, LBW for 23. But since that wicket, it's been all Bangladesh. They've managed to keep the run rate above four. Mushfiqur Rahim, 31 not out, and Mahmoud Al Hassan Joy, 38 not out, ended the day with a partnership of 42 or 50 balls, just showing how freely they are scoring at the moment, making it very, very difficult for South Africa actually to take wickets. But there's still a long way to go because they were 101 for three and they trailed by 101 runs by stumps. The team came off after bad light. So we are hoping that tomorrow's session, because it is going to rain apparently tomorrow morning before the match, it, it's not expected to interfere with the actual game time of the players, but that might bring some moisture into the pitch, etc., to and keep the pitch together, binding the pitch together, which will obviously make it a lot easier for the batters still. So that's what Bangladesh will be hoping for. Whereas South Africa might just be hoping that the pitch can be scruffy and a little drier with more spin on offer and more movement of the seam so that they can take quick wickets, because that's what South Africa is going to need. We are going to need to take quick wickets tomorrow and keep Bangladesh at bay. It would be phenomenal if we can bowl them out before they actually get to our lead and we can win by an innings. But other than that, you want to reduce the lead to, if they do surpass the deficit, then we do want them to stay at bay as long as possible. We don't want the score to run away with us, and then we have too much runs to score on a difficult wicket, because the conditions are presumed to be difficult coming soon over the next 3 days or so. So we need to make sure that we keep our heads, take as many wickets as possible, and try to keep the lead as low as possible. I want to keep it below 120. I think anywhere 120 plus, 150 plus is going to be very difficult on the wicket. If it deteriorates like we predict it's going to, then it's going to be very difficult to chase 150 plus on this wicket at the moment. We need to reduce this, get as many wickets as we possibly can tomorrow. So that's all that I have for you guys on my summary. Let's get straight into the live chat and see what you guys have to say in the live chat. This is your period of the show. Dex says, need to take wickets quickly or early. I agree. Avint says, Khalid, bro, what will be a good score to chase for South Africa? Anywhere between 120 and anywhere under 150, I'm happy with. For me personally, I would rather say under 120. I think that anywhere under 120 would probably be a good total for South Africa to chase, I think. But Alvi says SA will struggle to chase 120 plus in the last innings if they don't bowl Bangladesh out. Lack of proper bowlers will allow Bangladesh to score 350 plus on this dead wicket. I don't think there's a lack of proper bowlers here. I think there's enough. KG and Vian Mulder and Keshav Maharaj and Dane Pitt, there's enough in that attack to be able to cause Bangladesh problems. I mean, we did bowl them out for 106. Baravi says again, then expect Tajul and other spinners to bowl Issa out for under 100. Wow. If Dane Pitt is playing as a batter, then Issa should get a proper bowler. Dane's not playing as a batter. He's playing as a bowler. It just so happens that he is a decent batter. He was decent for Cobras when Western Province was still the Cobras. He was good for them then, and he's shown that he can hold the bat. And it's handy to have a bowler that can do so, and doesn't take one of your all-rounder spots, but he does add a little bit of depth to your batting lineup when you do get to the tail. Tex says Bangladesh all out for 250. We chase 48. Shakir says, your views on Keshav Maharaj, the batter. I don't know what has happened to Keshav Maharaj as a batter. Over the last few years, at least. I mean, Keshav used to be a decent batter, scored hundreds in first class cricket, was decent in ODIs too. I don't know if T20 cricket and him trying to change the way he bats for T20s has maybe affected his game, but for a very long time now, he hasn't been the batter that I thought he was. He hasn't shown the same quality as what I've seen in the past. And there's something there that needs to change. There's something there where there needs to be improvement because he hasn't been performing very well with the bat, and he should be performing much better with the bat. I think there's some work that needs to be done from a Keshav Maharaj batting perspective, definitely. Shikar says, is the pitch still difficult or has it eased out a bit? It has eased out a bit, a little bit. Um, whereas where the where I say it's eased out a bit and gotten a little bit easy is with when it comes to the spinners. It's a lot easier now to expect things from the spinners and to maybe predict where the ball's going to turn and where the bowlers are going to pitch the delivery. Now that the batters have realized that they need to sweep the spinners on this pitch, it's becoming a lot easier to bat and to predict things. South Africa is going to have to be a little bit smarter with their application, Keshav and Dane Pete. And in order to catch out Bangladesh, they are sitting currently in a very comfortable position, these two batters. So we're gonna have to keep the pressure on by taking wickets regularly. That's the only way South Africa can get on top in this match. But so far, I've been pretty impressed with the way South Africa has conducted themselves in this test match. Even in the field, I mean, now today they've stopped quite a few boundaries by running hard on in the outfield and cutting off balls, showing the effort and putting in the effort on the boundary in the outfield is magnificent to see, even though it's hot and very humid and very difficult conditions to field in. South Africa are committing themselves, and I think that is brilliant. Shikar says, "Do you think Mulder will be useful as the old ball with the old ball as he is with the new ball?" I don't think he is as useful with an old ball as he is with a new ball. Mulder, in the past, when he was a younger player for under 19, etc., used to open the ball bowling. So he's very good with a new ball because it just does gives him that extra bit of pace that he lacks. Because he doesn't have a lot of pace, talking about 135s plus, he bowls anywhere between probably 128 and 131, 32. So with a new ball, it just gives him that extra bit of speed, I feel, because the ball comes much quicker off the surface when it's a new ball. So it just gives him that little bit of extra aid that he probably needs to take wickets. I do think he struggles with the older ball, but if he can find ways to swing it and reverse swing it, he can be very deadly with the ball. For me personally, I want him to improve his batting and get way better with the batting because then his bowling can just come as a secondary. Doesn't have to be the main thing that he looks at. He's been looked at for because South Africa in the past they looked at him as a bowler first and not a batter, and since then he's developed his batting a lot. Even though for me when he was younger, I saw him as a batter first and then a bowler. In fact, he batted three for the Lions and all the under 19 teams. Shikar says they also scored at a pretty quick rate in that last phase. Had SA been a little bit more tight, wickets may have come. That's the thing. They needed to keep a tighter line. I think they were searching too much for wickets. And by doing that, their line strayed a bit, their length strayed a bit, and it was a little bit easier for Bangladesh to score. Tomorrow morning, we need to keep it tight and make sure that we put it in good areas on the pitch and make it very difficult for Bangladesh to get runs flowing. Also, will Root surpass Tenduka? Aish, I hope not. Avin says, Bro, your thoughts on Mulder's batting. Do you believe he can add value consistently with the bat? It's something that I'm hoping more than believe. There's still a lot of work for Mulder to do when it comes to his consistency. He needs to find more consistency now. I'm hoping that this particular half century will now give him the confidence and take the a monkey off his back in a way where he can now play with a lot more confidence and freedom. I've been very impressed with him on this tour. It's difficult conditions, foreign conditions. He's never been to Bangladesh for a test tour. So it's awesome to see him make runs in these conditions under that amount of pressure. So I'm hoping that this will be a kickstart. Sometimes players just need a particular moment or a particular innings or a particular milestone to take them to a next level, to elevate them and put them on the path of success. So I'm hoping that this will be that for both Kyle Verreynne and for Vian Mulder. And that's what it's more of a hope than a belief at the moment. Because I do think that Mulder needs to be able to take what he has learned in domestic cricket, and we needed to see him implement that and apply that at the test level or at the international level. And he's starting to come good now in all formats. He's starting to show his true ability, I feel. But I still think there's a little extra bit or level that he can reach. He's extremely talented. But Alvi says, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, Mulder becoming a proper fifth bowler. Shika says, I think Mulder is a better batter than Janssen, just an opinion. Well, he's supposed to be, because Mulder was a top order batter in when he was coming through, whereas Janssen has always been an all rounder type of batter. So good enough. Yeah. Avin says Carl batted brilliantly and Ryan looked good before getting out. Yeah, that was yesterday's game. I covered that on yesterday's review show. So yeah, I'll be continuously continuing these review shows now going forward, and I'll be giving you guys a review of every day, and then probably I'll open up the lines for the final day when the result has been called, and then you guys can maybe call in and have your say as well. But these review shows, particularly in test matches, the days there isn't too much to speak about because it's only basically one-sided from a team perspective. But today this was quite a bit to actually reveal to you guys, because both sides have had action with the bat today, so it helps a hell of a lot. Um, so yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope that I summarized everything for you guys as best as possible. Don't forget to smash the like button and comment in the comment section after we've finished the stream. But don't forget to subscribe as well, and tell all your friends that are South African cricket fans to subscribe as well, because it really helps the channel grow. That's what we're trying to do at the moment, guys. So please get involved there by subscribing and clicking that notification bell for all future videos. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another review of day 3. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.